All right, guys, it's time for another Marvel movie, Shang-Chi.
Yeah, it is, everybody. Is this movie worth stepping into the theater and checking it out? Fortune Cookie says, stick around because we're about to find out.
All right, guys, Shang-Chi, the next Marvel movie, Phase 4. What do you think?
Yeah, man. Well, we got, I thought the acting was good. We got Simu Liu playing Shang-Chi.
I thought you did good.
Right, yeah. We got the girl named after a water bottle, Awkwafina. She plays Katie, the friend. I thought she did excellent in Crazy Rich Asians. She did good.
Got half the cast from Crazy Rich Asians.
Right, exactly. And of course you got the amazing Michelle Yeoh. I mean, she's just a phenomenal actress, been in a ton of stuff. So, I thought they did good as far as cast goes, man. They did a good job casting the show. I thought, and I enjoyed the acting in it. So, yeah, man, picking up on it, I went into this movie hoping that it wasn't going to be like this super woke kind of movie and they weren't going to portray it that way. And I was pleasantly surprised that they didn't, right? I didn't think there was any of that stuff in this.
I didn't feel like there was much politics or
no, exactly.
Social commentary going on.
No, and I was happy with that, right? I mean, they made this movie exactly how they should have made it, right? They made it a Marvel superhero movie, exactly, in a fantasy world, There was no politics involved, none of that. It was just, a feel good, let's go have a good time, make a good movie, and let the crowd sit back for 2 hours and enjoy themselves, That's kind of what I thought of this.
Yeah. So it starts off, guys, he gets the 10 rings.
Yeah,
he's searching for this mystical forest area.
Tallow.
Yep. And he finds that, and then we get a little almost Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon action going on.
Yeah.
That's what it felt like to me.
Yeah, when it was cool too, because he was talking about right now is the Mandarin, right? Is Shang-Chi's
He's known
father.
As many things.
Yeah, Lord Khan, all kinds of stuff they call him in it. But he meets with his future wife, Shang-Chi's mother, and he's trying to enter the lost city of Tallow, and so they get in this battle, and of course she's kicking his butt, but then they make it. They make it a kind of a dance sequence, right? Like they're fighting, but it's so fluid and a lot of the motion they're fighting, and it's like they're dancing and they're kind of falling in love, as they're fighting each other. It was cool how they portrayed that.
And we're gonna get into spoilers now.
Yeah, definitely.
So be forewarned.
But it's very Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon-ish, and I like the sequence of that. I like the choreography of it and the way they did it, and that was really cool how they played that out.
Now I do find it odd though because she easily defeats him for the most part, which I think comes into play later on and becomes problematic, if you ask me. How easily she's able to defeat people with her martial arts style.
Right.
Like, he doesn't even get a hit in on her.
Nope.
And he might not be trying because he's like, what's going on with this girl initially, so maybe he's not trying his hardest.
Now, with that being said, she does have special powers when she is there in that area, right, in the Tallow, in that city, or even at the gates guarding it, which is kind of where she was at.
Yes.
So she has her special powers in, the heart of the dragon, right? So when she leaves that area, she doesn't have that power, right? So
true, but all her people have this power because they're there.
Right, exactly.
That's the scene I'm talking about. I'm not talking about the scene with her.
Okay. Gotcha. Yeah, that makes sense.
But anyways, like shortly after that, we meet our hero, and he seems like a normal, like Asian American guy.
Yeah.
Growing up in California.
Yep.
And
you meet his best friend Katie at the same time.
Yep, they're like valets. Right. And they take it very seriously.
Well, it was funny the way they played that out, right? It shows him getting up, right, and getting all dressed and stuff, like putting on his suit and all this stuff. And then it shows this, like, what was it, like a Lamborghini or Ferrari, something pull up.
It was a BMW, which is all throughout this movie.
Right, that's true. Yeah, you're right, it was.
It was an M8.
Right. And this thing pulls up, so you think it's going to be him stepping out of it, and this other freaking well-dressed Asian dude steps out and throws him the keys, right? So you find out he's he's just a parking valet, right? So, but at the same time, during the sequence, I think they already kind of showed when he was a kid, right? So they kind of showed him did they show that yet? Man, maybe they didn't show it at that point yet. Yeah, you're right, they didn't. But, so him and Katie are parking valets and, living in L.A. area and really not doing much of their lives.
I love how, like, down to earth they kind of are.
Yeah, no, they're super down to earth, man. And they're just carefree, just having a good time kind of people, living life,
They do the stereotypical Asian thing by... They're really into karaoke. Right. Can't have Asians without being into karaoke, I guess. So.
Right, exactly. But
so that was kind of interesting. They threw that in there.
Yeah, that was pretty funny.
But there are some funny scenes with that, especially at the end.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely at the end, right? Because and I didn't mention you get for briefly you get Benedict Wong back in this movie, right? So you see him a little bit, in the middle of the movie, and then again towards the end, like you said.
That was nice, and he shines in this movie.
Oh, he does. Benedict Wong does a great job. He did a great job, in Doctor Strange, and he does a great job in a little bit of time he's here in this one as well. So yeah, absolutely, man.
And now, one of the big action scenes in the beginning is like they're on a bus. What'd you think of that scene?
I thought it was cool. I thought, well, first of all, so you get this villain that steps in, right, with his little crew, and his name's Razor Fist, right? What a name for a villain. And it's the guy that played Dolph Lundgren's son in Creed 2, right? I didn't catch that immediately.
I didn't either. Like, that guy's awesome in Creed 2, but he doesn't seem quite as big as he was in that movie.
Yeah, no, he doesn't. He was jacked in that movie. You're right. He doesn't appear as big as this, so I didn't really catch it was him until I looked it up. I was like, oh, that was a dude for Creed 2. Okay. Now I get where I've seen him at. But I think... And well, he didn't have a lot.
And he's the guy from the trailer that has like a blade as an arm.
As a hand, yeah. What was his name?
Razor Fist.
Razor Fist, yeah. So, but and he doesn't have a lot of speaking roles in this. It's for him. Pretty much every scene he's in is all action, right? Just fighting for the most part. And he speaks a little bit, but pretty much he's just in it fighting with his Razor Fist.
And this is where we get some cool kung fu action.
Oh yeah. Oh, dude, yeah.
This might actually be the best scene in the movie, if you ask me. Maybe the best action
fight wise, potentially, yeah.
I think so.
Yeah. So
which is unfortunate, but cool though.
Right. So they're on the bus. Well, and why are they on the bus, right? Because whenever he was a kid, his mother gave him this pendant, right? So you got these. So first of all, his father is the leader of this criminal organization called the Ten Rings, right? So Razor Fist and his little thugs work for Shang-Chi's dad, and they're trying to get this pendant from Shang-Chi. So they're attacking Shang-Chi on this bus, and Katie's there, and Katie has no idea about Shang-Chi's past, so all of a sudden he starts busting out these awesome martial arts, and she's like, what the heck's going on? And he starts kicking the crap out of these guys. Yeah, the choreography, and that was awesome, man, just the way he's flipping through the different chairs, grabbing onto the bars, swinging, kicking these guys. They rip the bus open, and he's like doing stuff outside of the bus.
It was really cool. It was like some Jackie Chan stuff.
Oh, yeah, man. Yeah, very Jackie Chan-ish. I mean, it was awesome, the kind of, the stuff this guy was doing. So, yeah, that was phenomenal, man. I really enjoyed that fight scene in this one.
Yeah, like I said, that might be the best scene in the movie.
Yeah, no, I might agree with you, man, because action-wise, I think it definitely was. And, and you find out that his sister also has a necklace like this. So he's going to go find his sister and try to at least save her, keep her dad from getting her necklace so her dad can't do this whatever bad thing that's going to happen with it, which they don't know what it is yet.
Yeah, so he's packing up and he's in his bedroom, and I thought this was kind of cool because I saw like the Warriors poster on his wall, and I was like, awesome. That was a little interesting. That's a movie that needs to be remade.
Oh, dude, yes.
For real.
They should totally remake the Warriors, man.
He has like the Warriors, Kung Fu Hustle, and I didn't see this, but in the credits I saw like a Godfather reference, so maybe there was a Godfather poster on the wall
might have
too.
Been.
But
I
thought that was kind of cool.
Oh yeah, no, it was super cool, man. Yeah. I thought it was awesome.
Kung Fu Hustle and some Warriors.
That was really cool.
I gotcha.
Right, so his sister is hiding out in Macau. His sister runs this really awesome underground fighting ring, right?
Yeah, when they're on the plane, he starts filling Katie in on his backstory and stuff like that, and that's where you get to see him as a kid.
Yep.
And then we learn that the shy guy from the Mario games has been training him.
That's right. Yeah.
This guy looks like the shy guy just shows up, and like he's awesome, which he's kind of cool. But they don't really utilize him later in the movie, which is kind of a bummer.
Right, and then what happens to him later in the movie was like, really?
You're like, huh? I thought he was still around, but no.
No, well, you saw what happened to him, right?
Yeah, I saw what happened to him, all right? I mean, if you blink, you'll miss it, though.
Oh, yeah, quick. But, so, they get there. Well, number one, this is where we see Benedict Wong first come in, right? So he's in the arena, and he is fighting who? Abomination was the dude he was fighting. All right, but he's coming. So he's coming to the elevator like, hey, I'm here to see my sister, and he's like, yeah. Before you can come in, just sign here, right? So,
yeah, that was funny.
So he's like, all right, he signs here. So then he gets in, and then they got this freaking dude like, oh, hey, what's up, guys? Come on, everybody, let me show you around. He's like, being all cool. He's like, hey, man, oh, it's Bus Boy.
Yeah, he's famous, and that was funny too, seeing because. On the bus fight scene, they had like a live streamer who was streaming everything. He's like, oh, give me the breakdown of the fight as it's happening. And that was pretty funny.
Right, yeah, so this dude's streaming the whole thing. What's going on,
Yo, what up, y'all? It's your boy Clev coming at you live on the bus. I actually did take a little bit of martial arts as a youth, so I'm going to try and grade this fight as we're going.
So then, of course, it gets millions of views on the internet. So he ends up, so again, he ends up at his sister's place in Macau, and they're like, "Oh, it's Bus Boy, all right, we're gonna have you fight our champion." And then, like what Josh was saying, he gets in the ring, turns out it's his sister, right? So, they fight each other, and He could have beaten her, but right, she gets that sucker punch in at the end, and just
he's not really interested in fighting.
No, he's not interested in fighting. Right,
that could have been a better fight scene than one.
Could have been an awesome fight scene, right?
Yeah, but they kind of phoned that in.
Yeah, and they just let her sucker punch him and end it, and
it was funny because he shows up like, and he doesn't have his shirt on because they're trying to make him look good for the fight, and then Awkwafina, Katie's character, is like, "Lend me your shirt," and he's like, "I don't know."
Right, this guy.
The movie has good comedy sprinkled all throughout.
Oh yeah, it does. So then, of course, Dad, well, he's like, hey, I got your postcard, and his sister's like, what postcard? He's like, this one, you told me to come. She's like, oh man. And of course, right at that time, here comes old Razor Fist again with his buddies, and then of course, and not just Razor Fist. That was
funny because they're like dropping in from the rafters and rappelling in. I'm like, you could have just showed up probably, but whatever.
Right, exactly. They just come out of nowhere, and then of course, so does the dude from Mario. He comes in there too.
Shy Guy's back.
Guys back in here, right?
And that's kind of cool because you're like, he taught Shang-Chi how to fight, so you're getting to see them go down. And for a minute, I thought the Shy Guy character might be his mom because I'm like, why are they constantly hiding this guy?
I was thinking the same thing for a minute.
And then I'm like, so is this his mom?
Yep. Yeah, I was kind of wondering the same thing, right? Because it's a very mysterious character, right? I mean, he's a very mysterious character. You're like, man, who is this? And
they don't give him much backstory. So you're like, are they intentionally keeping that from us?
Yeah, the only backstory you get on this guy is that he was the guy that trained Shang-Chi when he was a kid, right?
You don't know where he comes from.
And he was very harsh on him as a kid. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, but he's awesome. I mean, he's an awesome martial artist. He's kicking some butt. But, of course, everybody escapes. Of course, Dad gets his hand on the second necklace. And so now he has the keys to Ta Lao. But he ends up, they don't escape. He ends up taking them captive and taking them home with him back to his fortress, right? So we got Katie, Shang-Chi and his sister go back home to Dad's fortress. And his dad's like, oh, welcome home, son. Hey, great to see you. And here's why we're doing this. So then he gives him the big plan of, hey, this is what's going on. Your mother's been kidnapped by her people. She's not really dead. They're holding her in this cave, and I need to go save her. Right? So, and then that's where it kind of gets interesting. You're like, okay, well, mom's dead, right? The kids know she's dead. So how is she trapped in some cave, right? And then you find out the dad's hearing these voices telling him, his wife's talking to him saying, hey, come save me. My people have me trapped. And he's believing these voices he's hearing.
And later on, they show you how everything unravels. They show you what happens to the mom. And that's kind of a lame scene, I thought.
Yeah, no, yeah.
She just gets, beaten up by regular people.
Yeah, she was beaten to death by this gang.
And granted, there were 30 of them or something. Yeah. So it's kind of believable, I guess. But she still seems kind of like a badass that probably should be able to take them still.
Yeah, or at least take most of them down with her.
She didn't need her little superpower from the area, and I believe she could probably. And it's kind of odd too when they show her dead on the ground, she didn't have a scratch on her. If she got pummeled by these people, you'd be like, she shouldn't probably look like that.
Well, and of course for Shang-Chi, for him, it was devastating because he actually watched it go down, right? So he watched his mom get beat to death, So yeah, for any kid, that's obviously gonna cause some traumatic effect on you, But no, you're right. Yeah, there was nothing. I mean, she's laying there on the ground. There's no blood,
like she's
no
sleeping.
bruises.
I'm like, just wake her up.
Just give her a little nudge. Get her up. All right, mom, come on, let's go take care of But and then you kind of start getting the story of the 10 rings and kind of what they're right. You see the dad using them, and that's the thing too, right? These 10 rings. First of all, in the comics, they're not rings around the wrist like they are in this movie. They're rings on Mandarin's hand, and each one has their own special powers, right? So it's kind of like the Infinity Stones, in essence, in a way. But for the sake of the movie, they didn't make it that way. They just made it, 5 rings on each wrist, and, and he's just using them as, weapons.
It's kind of cool because he can, jump really high with them, and he can soften his landing by shooting them off, so he can do all kinds of crazy stuff with them.
Yeah, exactly. And then,
of course, he shoots them, they come back, and that's kind of a cool effect.
Well, and then he can use them almost like a sword, too, right? He, slices down with a bunch of them at once. I mean, there's tons of stuff he can do with these rings, and it's cool. So, I mean, going into it, I was kind of upset, and I was like, man, how's this going to, I was like, you're used to the Mandarin, right? It's 10 rings. And I was kind of like, am I going to be not happy with this? But I think for the tits of the movie, they did a good job with it.
They don't really delve too much into it because obviously it makes him live forever if he's got these rings. But they don't get too into that.
Right. And I want to say that's one of the rings' power that gives you immortality. I don't remember exactly off the top of my head. I'll have to look that up. But I think one of the rings is what causes that.
It does seem like they're going to explore more stuff with the rings, so maybe they will find out they have individual powers. I don't know, but it's not really shown too much in this movie.
No, they don't. I mean, for all intents and purposes, it looks like they all just have the same power. He can use them.
And I was wondering too, because there's some scenes where him and his sister, he's holding on to him, and I thought, why don't you just transfer half the rings to her, and then she could essentially fly and do what she needs to do.
Right.
And that might be kind of cool too, that you broke this up and shared it, but no.
Yeah, no, yeah, right. Do that.
No thanks, I'm keeping them.
Right, exactly. So, you know, they end up going to Ta Lao, you know, everybody gets into Ta Lao. You know, and that's when you meet with their aunt, right? So they all make it there. Beautiful scenes, right? Beautiful, beautiful landscape. I thought, you know, you had the big shishi dogs, and you had all these other mystical animals and stuff that were there. So that was cool. You know, I like how they had all that in there. I like just the scenery of it, just a beautiful looking place, you know, and just very serene. It's like, man, I could go live there, you know, right there on the edge of the water. You know, so, you know, so they get there, they're like, hey, our dad's coming. We got to train. So they start training up, ready for dad to come, right? So with his army. And then, go ahead, man.
Well, rewinding back, when she first comes on the scene, like his sister, she comes out and she looks like Kylo Ren. I was like, what is this Jedi kind of stuff? Did you pick that up? She comes out wearing robes and stuff, and she has like a Kylo Ren silhouette. Right. I was like, she's going to bust out like a lightsaber? Who is this?
That's right.
And the scaffolding scene reminded me a lot of like Rush Hour.
Yep, I was thinking the same thing when I saw
like,
that.
This is reminded me a lot of like Jackie Chan and some Rush Hour stuff here.
I was thinking the exact same thing during that fight scene. Yep. Yeah, so when they're in Macau.
It's almost like they replicated that a little bit.
Right, exactly. Yeah, that's I was thinking the exact same things. That was pretty funny. So I'm glad, that's cool you picked up on that as well. I'm sure a lot of people probably do, you know, anybody who's seen Rush Hour. But yeah, it totally was very Rush Hour-esque, you know, and I got that vibe from it as soon as I saw it as well.
And before they go to that place, we get to see Trevor.
Yeah, old Trevor.
The Mandalorian Mandarin from Iron Man 3.
Right?
He shows up, which is kind of an odd scene.
Played by the great Sir Ben Kingsley, right? I didn't mention him at the beginning.
Yeah,
but, you know.
Yeah, I think they were trying to keep that one a little bit of a secret.
Yeah, they totally were. And, you know, I'm glad they did that for the fact that I was not happy in Iron Man 3 when they made the Mandarin an actor and he wasn't a real person, a character. I was like, what are they doing? So I'm totally glad that they threw that in here to explain all that it really was based off this real guy here, you know. So I was like, okay, cool, you know. But,
yeah, they're kind of tying that together and poking fun at it a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. So I was very glad they did that. And I was like, all right, cool. I'm glad they did that. Glad they tied it together. So at least I'm not too pissed off at, you know, at Iron Man 3 anymore.
But they don't really provide a great reason why he's there. Right. They're just like, this was like the Mandarin. He was in prison, and they were like, well, he busted him out of prison to kill him.
Yeah, the real Mandarin.
I'm like, why would he care about killing this guy?
Right, exactly.
And then like he busts him out of prison, and they're like, well, he was going to kill him, and then he saw my performance and was like, I'll keep you around for a little bit. Maybe you'll entertain us or something. Right, and I'm like, that does not seem like something he would do.
No, this guy does not have an entertain me persona. The Mandarin.
He's not
the Mandarin's all business.
The troops are low on morale. Maybe bring this guy.
Court jester, go out there and entertain him. Yeah, no.
And you're like, what?
Yeah, no, yeah, that didn't make sense at all. But whatever, you know.
I mean, Ben Kingsley is funny in this,
he is.
So he adds a certain element to this.
Right,
but...
and then he's got his little magical pet Morris, you know, with him the whole time. So I thought that was cool how they threw that in there. He's like, you can see him too. You know, so you thought I was just going crazy this whole time. So yeah, so that was cool. I like the head Ben Kingsley in it. You know, I like this character in it, and you know, and it just it did definitely added some comedic value to it. So I thought that was a great part of it.
I mean, it's kind of like a throwaway. Don't think about it too much and enjoy the ride. Yeah. And as they're trying to get to this place, it's like a maze forest that's constantly shifting and changing. Yeah. And they barely get through it in the car, but later on, the Mandarin brings his like army with him, and it's like a very small pocket to get into this like window before. And I'm like, how did you get this whole convoy into this thing? Yeah, which don't make much sense.
Yeah, because when Shang-Chi and his sister and Katie and Trevor are driving through, right? Like I said, I mean, they're just barely making it, just with one little car, you know. And then the next thing you know, like you said, the whole freaking Mandarin has like a convoy, like 15 vehicles.
Probably slower vehicles, even at that.
So it's kind of like, vehicles.
And they struggled to get through it. And it seems like a small, like sweet spot to get in here before you get crushed by the Force. And I'm like, how did this dude make it?
Yeah, no, that made no sense to me.
And they show this scene in the beginning of the movie, and when they get in there, and nothing seems changed. Like one vehicle looks like it could make it through this thing. Yeah, and exactly. All of a sudden, there's a whole convoy that just shows up.
Right, exactly. All of them just coming through the tunnel.
And I mean, I think they only had probably like 7 vehicles, but it seems like they brought like 100 people with them.
Yeah, in all those vehicles. Right,
I'm like, how many people were in this thing? So
like clown cars pulling up, man.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, that was I was like wondering the logistics behind that.
No, I was wondering the same thing, and especially how all those vehicles made it through. They clearly just left that up to your imagination, I guess. Didn't explain that at all, and it didn't make any sense. But you know, whatever. So they all get there, and then that's when the big battle kicks off. You know. And then it's funny because the big battle leads to a different big battle, you know. So it's like they're all enemies at first.
Well, they're fighting, right? Yep. And again, in the beginning, Shang-Chi's mom is easily able to take him out. These are her people, even her sister, but they can't easily handle these people.
Yeah, now they can. Yeah, you're right.
So it's like
where they have their power.
Inconsistent with the fighting and how good they are. Now all of a sudden they're struggling with these goons that should be easily defeatable in my mind.
No, you're right. No, I agree with that. That's true.
So, and they have special armor, all kinds of stuff, like dragon scale armor. And no one's even winning this. It's just kind of like a stalemate almost.
Yeah, exactly.
And then the door kind of like opens a little bit, and these beasts start coming out.
So when we were talking earlier, the voice was talking to Dad, right? Turns out the gate, you know, that his wife's supposed to be behind, there's actually this giant, like, world-ending demon back there, right? And so they have locked him, you know, their dragon...
And they feed off the souls of humans. Their dead victims.
Yeah, dead people, yeah. So, well, they don't feed off of it. They deliver it to the demon, right? So there's this big demon behind that gate, and he's the one that's actually luring the dad there with the voice of his wife, saying, hey, free me, free me, free me. Because the only thing that can open that gate is the rings, right? Because the gate's made out of dragon scales.
I feel like they could have had a decent conversation with him and explained, like, this is the demon talking to you. Here's what he's doing. But they don't ever get into that.
And, well, that's what killed me, too,
They say it, like, for a hot second, and then he's like, nope.
Well, that's the thing that killed me too, right? Because so when Shang-Chi and his sister get there, they show them the tapestry of like everything, how this demon got captured, how all this stuff goes down, how he's deceitful. And I was like, why didn't you just walk your dad over and show him this tapestry?
This dude has lived for thousands of years. He's a pretty educated person.
Right, exactly. It's like, it's like, why didn't Shang-Chi, when they're sitting there talking, just say, hey, Dad, give me a second, come and check this out, and show it to him. Like, look, this is what's going on. This is what's behind that door. Not Mom. This thing's been tricking you. And
this reminds me of that What If episode where Black Panther T'Challa like explains to Thanos like what's going on, and he's like, "Oh, okay, cool. Like, my bad." Like, yeah, maybe I won't snap the world. Like, I feel like a conversation could have prevented everything.
Right. So, but then we wouldn't have had the dramatic fight scene at the end, right? So
I get he could be like so clouded, but they didn't even try to go that route.
No, they didn't. Not one bit. Not until he's already there beating on the gate.
Yeah, and then he has that realization, like, oh, maybe it's this going on. I'm like, yeah, well, we tried to tell you that.
Right, yeah, a little too late now.
Or maybe we didn't try to tell you that.
Right. I guess we didn't try hard enough. Yeah, so, so of course the gate comes crashing down. This big giant demon escapes, and of course he's being fed by all his little demons who are stealing the souls of the people who are dying and feeding this thing.
And we have like a dragon that comes from the water. That's the protector.
The protector of Tai Lao, right? So Tai Lao is a great protector, and he actually helped. He's actually one that helped capture this beast behind that gate and made the gate the first time around.
And I'll tell you what, I was really enjoying this movie. I was thinking about what score I'd give it. I'm like, this movie's like a 9. It's really good.
It was
but
good.
Then the finale kind of happens, and it goes down a couple notches to me because the beginning's great. There's a lot of kung fu action. It kind of abandons that to traditional Marvel like fighting with you got these big monsters fighting. That's kind of pointless in my mind. And then they get the ring action going on. It's not about martial arts kung fu anymore. It's your typical Marvel action stuff going on at this point.
One thing that got me too is, they're saying that they were able to beat without the rings, right? The first time they were able to beat this beast back and lock it away, and all of its little minions.
Yeah, like the protector was going to work,
right. And the protector was the one that helped them do that. And now all of a sudden, this thing's getting fed some souls, and the protector is getting his butt kicked by this thing, right? Toward and you're like, what? It's like that doesn't make any sense. Like and with the rings being used at the same time, right? So they were using the rings and the protector, and this thing's still kicking some butt, and it's like, come on now. It's like, it just didn't, that threw me off.
Well, I will say, like, that dragon kind of had things under control until it got fed some more
souls, right, exactly. But the thing is, you wouldn't think you think in the first battle,
it wasn't that many souls,
right, yeah. Yeah, and it's like the first time they fought, I'm sure it was getting fed souls as well, and they were still able to lock it away, right? So it was like,
It did seem like it could have gone either way, but like with the rings, you would think it would be tilted more in their favor.
Right, exactly.
But it didn't take much to end it at the same time.
Though. No, not at the end, yeah. When they finally...
that was kind of anticlimactic for me.
Yeah, no, I thought so as well. And, because you've had this thing locked away for thousands of years, right? Because it's pretty much immortal. Right, and then all of a sudden, this dude comes in with the rings and was able to just shred this thing, and poof, gone. No more.
That's the problem for me in some of these movies, like these superhero movies. When you introduce like monsters and things that are the size of buildings, there's not really any great fight sequences you can have. I think, especially when it's going up against normal sized people.
Right.
There's only so much you can do.
Oh, yeah.
And we've seen like cities being destroyed by things like this, and it's like, what is with this? You guys think like we'll just have it destroy all kinds of stuff and we'll love it.
That'd be cool, right?
Like, no, what's cool is like personal fighting, like gritty, like I would have rather just seen the dad and the son fight it out.
Right, and go to town at each other, right? Yep, just one grand finale fight.
Yeah, you know.
Yeah, but overall, I mean, it was good. Like I said, I liked that there was no politics involved. I liked that they stuck with pretty much, you know,
still a great movie. Overall.
Yeah. I mean, and they stuck with a good Chinese tradition type Marvel character here. You know, this ancient Chinese city, and and even like, well, even in the stateside, you know, where they're talking to, even Katie's parents, right? And her parents and grandparents are still very, very Chinese cultured and all that. So they had that in there. So I thought it was really good how they threw it all in there. I like how they just stuck with that through the whole movie, and how there was no just nonsense going on, nothing that would make anybody mad politically, and to watch this movie. And I enjoyed that. And overall, the fighting was good. You know, there's a lot of good fight scenes and everything. Yeah, I got a little wonky at the end with the beast and all that stuff, but for the most part, I don't think that took away too much from the movie for me. You know, and then of course, they defeat the beast. Happy times, it's dead. You know, and now, hey, everybody goes back home, right? We're going back to America. You know, so, and then so then you get your first cutscene, right? And go ahead, man. I'll let you tell you.
There's two cutscenes, I guess, in the credits on this, and the first one's pretty interesting because it has Wong, and they're looking at these rings, and it also has Captain Marvel. And it has Mark Ruffalo's character, what's his name, Bruce Banner. Yep, Bruce Banner. So they're examining the rings, and they're saying, how old are these? And he's like, well, my dad's had them for 1,000 years. And they're like, indications are that they're a lot older than that.
Right.
So they start exploring that more, which is kind of interesting. And it's a rather long in-credit scene.
Yeah, well, and the cool thing is, too, is that what I liked about it, too, is they flat out say, you know what, these rings aren't any substance that we know of. They're not vibranium. They're not. They're like,
Captain Marvel's like, I don't recognize them from my internet or
all the travels
I've done in outer space.
Yeah, never seen anything like this. And then what they did say though, when they kind of looked at it at a molecular level and broke it down, they're like, hey, these things have a beacon in them, right? So they're calling out to something, right? So hopefully that's going to play, a cool role in maybe in the Doctor Strange movie or something, and I guess we'll find out. But
and that stinger comes pretty quick into the credits, and then the next one is at the very end, so you have to stick around through it all if you want to see the second one. And the second one ain't worth it because they just show a quick scene of like his sister on like the throne that her dad occupied, and she's like essentially running the 10-ring army or whatever.
Right. And I guess the thing that kind of is very similar to me, a very similar feel I got with that is Ra's al Ghul and his army of assassins, right?
It's kind of like that, yeah.
So, I mean, it had definitely had that same feel to me. Like, you got the 10 Rings assassins, and you got Raz's assassins, and Raz was an immortal, just like the leader of the 10 Rings was immortal, right? So it was a very similar feel between the DC and Marvel universe there, and that, and of course, a lot of similarities between a lot of different, some of the characters. But yeah, it was totally, to me, just like, it was pretty much the exact same, like a mirror image of the Ra's al Ghul stuff, man. It was like, Marvel's version of that. So
yeah, and I would say, we talked about the shy guy like character. I don't even know his name, but the shy guy, he gets to, like, once these monsters are released, they like come and attack him, and he gets taken out like he's nothing.
Yeah, he just lifts him up, rips his soul out,
and that's it. And I was like, wow. Right. That's all we get from this character.
Yeah, like this, like he's probably the second best fighter, or third best, aside from Shang-Chi and his dad.
Yeah, he's probably even better than Razor Fist, if you ask me.
Oh yeah, he's definitely better
because he's training Shang-Chi, so you would think he's better than him.
Well, and the thing is, he's the trainer of his dad's whole army, right? So you assume he trained Razor Fist as well at some point, right? So yeah, I mean, this guy.
I guess maybe they're trying to show you how crazy these monsters are and what damage they can do. I don't know, but that was kind of lame. That had like a little Captain Phasma moment for me.
Right, so, right, exactly.
I don't know.
All right, brother. What are you giving this?
Like I said, I was initially going to give it a 9, but that ending brought it down a notch for me. So I'm going to give this an 8. I put this on the Suicide Squad probably level for me.
Yeah, no, I'm right there with you, man. I'm giving this an 8. I enjoyed it. The end, it could have been better.
You're copying my score, huh?
But I think, yeah, man, I am. But I was never thinking 9 when I saw this movie at all. I was thinking 8 the whole time. So, yeah, I'm not taking it down. I'm keeping it right where I was at.
Now, what do you think? This or Black Widow?
Oh, by far this.
It's pretty easy. This is a much better movie than Black Widow.
Much better movie. Yeah, much better. Better. I mean, all around. Better story. Better everything. Yeah, no doubt, man. I mean. This is one of the better Marvel movies, I think. This is right up there with with some of the best ones, I think.
I don't know about that, but it's pretty good.
Oh, it's up there,
especially for lately.
Right, exactly. Yeah, absolutely.
Now this or Black Panther?
I'd say this is right up there with Black Panther. I thought Black Panther was a good movie.
Gun to your head, you got to choose one or the other.
No, I can't choose, man. I'd say
you gonna wuss out on this?
I probably enjoyed this one a little better than Black Panther, but I'd say they're pretty much on par. I'd say I probably enjoyed this one a little better because I think there were just better fight scenes, you know, and I like the choreography in this one a little better and stuff. So
I think this has a better story than Black Panther to me.
Yeah,
but I kind of like the culture better of Black Panther and stuff like that, brought. Yeah. So
well, and both of them had good culture in, man. And so I like that about both films, and that's why I'm just kind of like, man, it's pretty even kill. But I definitely like the choreography better in this one. And you know, and I think that's what's really nudging me more towards.
I think the overall story is better in this movie, but I think the general setup with Wakanda is better than.
Oh, dude, yeah, general setup with Wakanda is awesome.
Yeah,
no doubt about it. Yeah, I mean, especially the advances in technology they have and all that stuff is freaking, you know.
Yeah, really just cool. Like the world building they did with Wakanda, I think, more so than what they did in this. This is pretty strict to like this family.
Right, so. And the world building is not a giant, you know, country. It's just that one little city, right? The little town of Talau, right? So yeah, no, you're right about that. Big difference in that.
Now, what do you think about this or Free Guy? Because we pretty much said Free Guy is the best movie of the year. So does this dethrone that or not?
Well, you know, I gave Free Guy an 8.5.
Yeah.
Because I thought it was a great movie. But the thing is, it's hard to compare those two because I took Free Guy more of as a comedy, kind of feel good. I mean, it was an action movie too, but it was, I mean, they're two totally different movies, man. It's almost like comparing apples to oranges here. But, I mean, it is right up there with Free Guy. I wouldn't say it necessarily dethrones Free Guy.
Copping out. Here's what I'll say. Free Guy's better. Because Free Guy is new. It's fresh. It's your typical Marvel movie for the most part.
All right, fair enough. Okay, fair enough.
I've convinced them, ladies and gentlemen.
No, you have, but at the same time, this is still a great movie.
No, I'm not taking anything away from this, but I enjoyed Free Guy more. Free Guy is more free-flowing, fun movie for me.
That's true.
This was good, but in the grand scheme of all the Marvel movies, I mean, I wouldn't say completely forgettable, but here's what I worry about is like you got Captain America, Iron Man, Thor. These are loved characters. Now we got Shang-Chi. Like, are people going to be wearing a Shang-Chi shirt? I don't know. Because he doesn't even have, like, a uniform or a signal or anything like that to project. Right. And when I think about, like, how would I like Shang-Chi in an Avengers movie, I don't know if he adds a whole lot to that, like Captain America does or something like that.
Yeah, well, and one of the things, too, though, I think that's where the rings are going to come into play, right? Because just from the cutscene, they made it look like these rings are a lot more than what meets the eye, right? So,
I don't care what's going on with these rings. He's not a Captain America. He's not an Iron Man or Thor-like character.
No, he's not.
And that's what worries me as we go into Phase 4, because we're getting more lesser-known superheroes.
Right. Well, that's just like them giving, you know, I mean, Hawkeye his own TV show now, right? It's like, does Hawkeye rate his own show?
Yeah,
no. You know,
I'm not a big. I mean, I think all of us think Hawkeye is more of a B character. Same with Falcon, even though they're trying to pump him up as name. I'm not buying it, Marvel. Not buying him as Captain America.
No, exactly, man. So I mean, I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on in the Marvel Phase 4 that I don't agree with. I haven't been really happy with most of it.
But I just think the well's drying up.
Yeah, it is. But I will say, out of all the Phase 4 stuff I've seen so far, this is the best one.
Yeah, I mean,
this is the best one.
I haven't seen Eternals, obviously, but now the trailer and stuff got me more pumped for this.
The new trailer look, and the new trailer I think looked a lot better than what we saw.
It's better than previously, but I'm still not super amped for that. But I hope it's better than the trailers lead me to believe.
Right, exactly. So yeah, we'll see. Hey guys, that's our review of Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. We hope you enjoyed it. If you did, hit like and subscribe, and please tell us what you thought about it. And we'll have some good conversation going on about this movie. So until then, we'll check you in the next review.
See you guys. All right, Billy, grab your General So and let's go.
Right. Awkwafina. Wow.
Yeah. Hey, that's a popular drink.
Yeah.
Aqua.
Should I say that?
I don't know. They can't fire me, okay?
Too bad I don't have a real fortune cookie. That'd been perfect, dude. Y'all got any fortune cookies in there?
No, man. What do you think? Just have random fortune cookies?
Well, if you don't know any Chinese, it would be perfect, dude.
I mean, Chinese food.
That would have been perfect, man.
I actually don't like Chinese food, man. She don't like a lot of things.
Holy cow, man. How do you like Chinese food?
Question whether she likes me sometimes.
That's right. It's like, yeah, I mean, everybody should be able to make fun of themselves.
Oh, yeah, I mean,
it's
too risque.
It's part of life, man. You know, I mean, you're pretty boring. You can't make fun of yourself, you know.
All right, you ready to do this?
Let's do it.
Thank you.